What's up, guys? Thank you very much. We want to thank Brett specifically and everyone that was involved yesterday and everyone that's watching the channel. You guys led us to this amazing opportunity. We were here yesterday, Braden and I, linking up at the Q2 Austin FC Stadium to watch the US against Trinidad and Tobago. We're definitely going to go back, head on to the regular video, but we're going to bring a match day experience, sort of short vlog. We'll see what it will be, but stay tuned for the content that we're bringing out. Thank you very much. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts for this opportunity. It's all thank you to you guys. Thank you, Arjun, Jeff, Shrey, everyone that's been involved in the channel as well. Leo, everyone, you guys were all part of this journey. So thank you very much.
We're truly grateful, guys, for all the support that we've gotten on the channel. It wouldn't be possible without any of you guys, and of course, Brett Oppenheim and US Soccer. We can't express it enough how grateful we are for this opportunity, and it's just the beginning for us. We're going to continue producing content for you guys. This is just the start for us.
Yeah, thank you very much for the hospitality, the opportunity. We plan on bringing more, being more active on the platform, and thank you so much. We'll see you next time. Hello, welcome back to everyone that's tuning into the channel, American Ultra Stock. Here we are, Braden and I, after the wonderful experience that you guys saw in the intro we had yesterday. Again, huge thanks to Brett, to the USSF, all of the other YouTubers that were involved too. Thank you very much. A lot of kind people that we met. We're really grateful for that. But diving into the match that we saw, on the one hand, we had a great experience outside of the field, but on the field, I don't think it was, it's fair to say, not one of the best days for the US team. I think the scoreline really flattered us. Braden, 3-0. Main takeaways in the standpoint of a tactical perspective. The formation, our shape in the game, what do you think? Do you think that the lineup, which I think that a lot of people before the game wouldn't have too many issues with, do you think that it translated well into the pitch? Obviously it didn't, but why was that so?
Yeah, I think the lineup was definitely what people wanted to see. I think that was the main point behind what Greg decided to put out there. But obviously we saw on the pitch it didn't work at all. Playing Tillman on the wing, I don't understand it at all. Him and Reyna are the exact same player. Obviously Reyna's way better, but they're the same style of player. They're both 10s, they drift out wide. And having them both on the field, they were confused. They miscommunicated a lot. They didn't know where to be in relation to each other, and it ended up as we had no right wing. So Dest was on an island against the left back for Trinidad and Tobago, which, it has to be said, was their best player on the night by far. Did a great job against Dest and was one of the only players from the opposition who didn't get tired as the game went on. So props to him for that performance. But from our perspective, I think it's concerning because it shows how unused we are to breaking down a low block, because we've only faced this one other time, and it was a couple of camps ago against Uzbekistan. And I was noticing as the game progressed, it's basically the exact same game, even the same scoreline as well. But we struggled for a long time, then finally they got tired. We brought on Pepe and Aronson in both games. They were the ones who came on and made the difference. I think in the game against Uzbekistan, we were already up 1-0. In this one, it was still 0-0, but similar sort of situation. They come on, change the game. We end up winning 3-0 due to a bunch of late goals that realistically the scoreline doesn't tell the true story of the night. It was realistically a 1-0 win. I think would have been fair for us based on how we performed, which obviously is not the result we wanted going back into Trinidad, because with only a 1-goal lead heading there where we have some past demons, you never know what can happen. So I'm glad we did get the 3 goals. It's important. It looks like this tie is all but done now, which is nice to see. Hopefully some of the other guys who are on the bench can get some minutes rotated in the second leg. But I think from our tactical perspective, it was a bit of a mess. No one really knew what they were doing. Reyna in particular looked lost. I don't know if the pressure got to him because Pulisic was out and he was expected to be the focal point of the attack in the middle, running everything. But he looked lost. His positioning was bad. He looked lethargic. I'm not sure what it was, but he was off. Going back to the warm-ups and through the game, he was off the whole time. And from a Trinidad and Tobago perspective, I think huge props to their manager, because he definitely won the managerial battle despite the 3-0 loss for them, because the way they played was very effective for much of the game. For the first 80 minutes, you could say they just sat back, kind of a Atletico Madrid style defense when they played against Man City in the Champions League, I think last year, where they just put everyone behind the ball, and it worked. We couldn't break them down at all, and even when they got the red card, it didn't change the game at all, because instead of having 10 men back and 1 up top, it was just 10 men back, and we still couldn't break them down at all. And it just ended up they getting tired, and that's when we capitalized with the subs, the fresh energy of Pepe and Aronson. But I think props to them for a very, very good performance. It could have definitely gone their way, not as opposed to a win. They had no attacking threat, but it could have been a lot closer. Should have been a lot closer. I'm glad we got the 3-0 win, and again, an incredible experience. Thanks so much to everyone who made this possible for us. But on the pitch, I think we need to see some major changes in the second leg.
Absolutely, I agree. I think that the fact that we're not used to being the team that takes the tempo with this group of players, even though we are in CONCACAF, so we should be used to that. I feel like the tactics of just lumping in crosses, low crosses, open it wide, and low crosses, someone arriving from the other edge of the box, but not really in a surprising way, in a very predictable way, so that way there's not much room for a shot. And the fact that we were really slow in transition, I feel like Gio and Tillman, who was not there, he just got his cardio session out, they were a little bit slow in transitions. Fair to say, Gio was really slow dribbling, running, and keeping the pace of play. Very sideways, backwards. So I think that a player like McKinney does need to be a little bit more valued, because he was the one guy trying to mix things and string things from the midfield. He had a good game. I felt like he was always actively trying to make something happen alongside Dest, but we're used to that from Dest. And yes, again, I want to give a shout out to the Trinidad Tobago left back. That guy had a really good game. But now going on to the standout performers, positives and negatives, we can do it sort of similar to Stockwatch. So I'll start with my first positive from yesterday. I just said it, McKinney. I felt like Wes had a good game. It's really nice to see the turnaround, not only in his attitude, which we never really had a problem for the national team, but it seems like his mentality is always there now. He did draw the red card, so that is obviously didn't affect the game as we wanted, but he did draw it, and also the penalty, which got reviewed. But he also always wanted to make things happen, had some really good balls, and I feel like Wes really had a good game, so he's my first standout. What about you, Braden?
I think the guy that stood out to me the most was Jedi Robinson. I think attacking and defensively, the little defensive work that he had to do, he was always there to cover, especially when we got beaten a couple times towards the end of the game. He made the recovery run, as he always does, just the energy, and he's just such a good athlete. But definitely, I think, the best athlete on the team, and that can really come in handy. Honestly, late in the game when players are tired and you have a player like that who he doesn't stop running, it's useful to have. And he was a lot more involved attacking than usual. I think the focus, since we didn't really have a right winger because Tillman was kind of non-existent, the focus was definitely down the left-hand side. Even Trinidad knew that. They were pushing their guys towards their right, our left. They left a lot of space on our right-hand side for Dest to run into, and they were really doing a good job of locking both sides up. But Jedi was definitely one of the most involved players. He kept breaking down the inline, overlapping, underlapping, getting in crosses. The end product wasn't there for most of the game, but he did get the assist to Pepe, which was a good cross, a better finish to be fair, but still a decent cross into Pepe. He got the job done, and obviously we have to talk about his goal. A little bit of a deflection, but an absolutely sensational finish, and one that I don't think anyone would have expected, considering some of the technical quality that he's shown in the past. So a huge shout out to Jedi for the finish, and the celebration as well after was cold, landing those flips. So he is the main standout for me.
Absolutely. We don't need to necessarily pick a certain amount of players. Let's not limit ourselves to 3. I'm just going to say the next player. This is a standout take that I have from the game. Not specifically one of the players, but because of his performance, Ricardo Pepi. One take that I'll have is he needs to be starting. I feel like Balogun again. We try to not blame him because he's not the type of player to do the hold-up play, but he had a few clear-cut chances to finish chances. One in particular, if that's Jesus Ferreira, he gets clowned forever, and I feel like, and that was in the second half. First half, there was a good ball over the top from West that he failed to get to. There was a good pass from Jedi that was a little bit heavy, but that's Balogun's bread and butter. Run behind the lines and make space for yourself and read the play. Stop it with your right foot. That's what he should have done there and mistimed it. So I feel like that was not a good game from Balogun. Again, he always tries these little flicks at the edge of the box and rolling, but it never works. It didn't work again yesterday. So overall, that's my take. Ricardo Pepi, if I had to give him a match rating, I'll give him a 9. I felt like he didn't do anything wrong. Helped defensively as well. Was on it after the game, was signing autographs and taking pictures with the fans, which we always love to see. I mean, it does make a huge difference. Shout out to him, Brendan Harrison, Paxton Harrison for doing that. Gio came out as well. So props to these guys for doing that. It does make a difference and definitely creates memories for the new fan base. That's the future, the kids that go watch the game. So that's my take. Out of all of that, I just say Pepe, what else does he need to do to start? And especially if we're going to play this way, he's the guy to do it. And I feel like the fact that his build is he's a little bit taller, stronger, it goes under the radar how good of a player technically he is, and he can also read those plays, those runs behind the lines. Just look at the Mexico game at the Nations League. So yeah, that's my take. Ricardo Pepi, standout performer. Belgium, if we had to say, I'll do a stock down on him. What's your next take from the game, Braden?
Yeah, Ricardo Pepi, definitely, he always performs. Even he gets limited minutes for club and country, but every time he comes off the bench, whether it's for PSV coming in for Luc de Jong, or whether it's for us coming in for Balogun, or he didn't come in for Balogun this game, but usually he does. He always makes the most of his opportunities. He gets goals, gets assists, regardless of the opposition, regardless of the circumstances. And I think it's finally time to give him the reward, because I don't think he started a single game for us since we did recruit Balogun, which I'm not saying that's like a bad thing, because Balogun obviously is a great player, but I think it's time to reward Pepe for his continuous opportunities. Like the chances that he creates off the bench he'll truly make a difference. Every time he comes in, he changes the game for the better. And my next standout performer is another guy who does that, Brendan Aronson. It's going to look like I keep pushing my agenda, but I don't understand the hate this guy gets from the fans, especially when he is staying after the game and signing stuff for all the young kids and taking pictures. Just shows how good class of a person he is, as well as a player. And every time he comes on the pitch, I feel like, especially in the game against Trinidad, he had the most moments. Despite only being on for 20-25 minutes, he was the one who had the most dangerous opportunities out of all the players on our team, even the guys who were in for the full 90, like Gio. Like Paredes came off, I think, but like those kind of players, he was definitely the most influential. Him and Pepi off the bench, the dynamic duo. And his finishing needs to be cleaned up a little bit. He keeps missing big chances for club and country, but he gets in the chances, and that's the big thing, because the rest of our players weren't doing that. He kept creating opportunities. He had one really nice layoff to Pepi inside the box where he was being bodied by one of the Trinidad and Tobago defenders, and he still teed it up perfectly for Pepi. He didn't score, unfortunately. But I think the impact that Brendan Aronson has off the bench is undervalued by a lot of our fan base. And I think he needs to get his flowers, because regardless of his club form, regardless of what's going on at Union Berlin right now, obviously it's bad, but for the national team, he never disappoints.
That is fair. That's completely fair. And my last take on this is Gio Reyna. I want to talk about him. I feel like for 70 minutes of the game, he was really bad. From what we expect, from what we hype him up to be, and the fact that this was his chance to step up as the main guy because Puli's not there. It's somewhat of a big game because it's still a win was needed to qualify for our own Copa America, so it would have been an embarrassment if we didn't do it. But I feel like he was really slow in transition. Looks a little bit lazy, sluggish, and not alert at all. The way that he positioned himself, that was the main concern for me. It was alarmingly off. He wouldn't read play, he would position himself. I never saw him looking around to see if there was any on him. He would make some runs that were very doubtful that he would ever get the ball when they were on the left hand flank side with Paredes and Jedi, or when Wes had the ball, he didn't really put himself in a position to get the ball while running. It always feels like he has to have acres of space in order to stop it and then decide to run at a player and then decide to do a play, or have a lot of space in transition running, which then he's forced to do. I don't think that he has the capability of getting the ball already up to speed, and that's something that's really frustrating. So wonderful goal, but you got to take into consideration the opposition, that you can only beat what's in front of you, but it is a very low quality opposition. They were really tired. They had some beefy players, really big players, and they're eating well in Trinidad Tobago probably. And Gio did score a great goal, but I have to take into consideration the rest of the game and how would this game translate against a higher level opposition, particularly one play where he was practically inside of the box and he tried to roll the ball around and turn around to shoot it with his right, and it was still a weak effort. At the top level, you're never going to get that amount of time and space, Gio. So I do need to say that although he did do well at the end, if you look at it objectively, I don't think that was the most hopeful performance. It doesn't create, and right now I'm fine. I've lowered my expectations officially for Gio, and that's okay. We have a good 10. He should play as a 10. He's a good player, something that we typically don't have, but I don't have the expectations that this guy is ever going to reach Pulisic level and be the main guy to carry. I don't know if maybe it's because of the coaching staff that he's not as comfortable. Definitely doesn't do him any favors, so don't want to be too harsh on him, but that's my main takeaway as well. We can't rely on him to step up and change a game on his own. Well, what about you, Brayden? What's your last takeaway from the game?
Yeah, it wouldn't be a fitting into this video if I didn't mention another guy who I think underwhelmed, it's fair to say. I already spoke about Malik Tillman a little bit with his positioning with Reina, so I'll leave him be for now. But the one who I was very disappointed with was Cameron Carter-Vickers. And it might be a weird one for most fans because I feel like from his defensive aspect of the game, he was great. He didn't lose a single battle. He got burnt one time by Levi Garcia, but I'll excuse that. Levi Garcia is a great player, honestly. One of the most underrated in all of CONCACAF, so we'll excuse one little mishap on the defensive end. But I think the big thing for this game wasn't the defensive capabilities. It was how we attack. And having good defenders is nice, but if they can't progress the ball quickly, it's not going to work against a team like this who plays in a low block. And CCV waited so long to make the same passes. He never tried anything special. He never tried to play over the top. He never tried to switch the play. It's always sideways pass to Reem, sideways pass to Dest, maybe a short 5-yard pass to McKennie or Musa in the midfield. It was so predictable. They could read it. Every time he played the ball, the Trinidad Tobago defenders were on our guy by the time he got it there, and he was just taking too long. He was taking 3, 4, 5 touches when he could have done it in 1 or 2. And I think that really limited how effective our attack was because it slowed down the game and it allowed Trinidad and Tobago to sit back in their low block and just defend and not let us through. And I think if we could have attacked or counterattacked more quickly, we definitely could have been a lot more effective, especially in the first half. So from the defensive aspect, great performance, but that's not what we were looking for in the circumstance of this game in particular. And honestly, I think I mentioned on last Stock Watch, I don't trust CCV defending against good opposition regardless. I mean, sure, he did against Trinidad and Tobago, that's cool. He does it in the Scottish League, that's cool. But against Atletico Madrid, who aren't even a very attacking team, he goes and concedes 6 goals in the Champions League on the biggest of stages. So I don't trust him fully yet. I don't trust him to be a starter, to be honest, right now, which is concerning because he's one of the only options we have. I think our center back pool is lacking heavily a lot right now. And hopefully Richards can come back into form because I think we were definitely missing him a little bit tonight with how he can progress the ball. Reem was doing a decent job of it, but CCD was a little lacking on the offensive side.
Absolutely, and I'll close out the video with a very unusual note. You mentioned a lot about CCV and you touched on Richards as well. I'm going to say props to Greg for a few things, for bringing on the subs at the right time. Obviously, made only 2 subs, but anyways, I don't think he's at the level where he for sure knows how many subs he can do. I don't know. And obviously kidding. But I think that it's nice to see that when a player underperforms, and it's fair to say Richards heavily underperformed in the last camp, to get penalized for it, give another guy a chance. I like that. So props to Greg for that. A lot of promising things in his new tenure, if you want to call it a second tenure, but I don't have a problem with the call-ups, don't really have a problem with the lineups, and it's nice. I'm all for it. If a player doesn't perform, he gets taken off. So yeah, we'll see. But overall, what an experience. We're so thankful for it, so grateful for it. We'll definitely be producing, as we mentioned already, more content for you guys, being more active in social media as well, trying to grow the channel, and I'm so excited for this new journey. It's obviously almost like a restart for us now that we got this opportunity. We'll definitely not try to capitalize on it and not let it go away. But yeah, thank you very much, guys. Thank you for watching. Make sure you leave a like, subscribe, share with your friends, and we'll see you next time.